What's going on, guys? My name is Andrew and welcome back to part 2 of Sanat's house flip project. It's been 5 months since we got started and his project is now completed and sold. So let's talk about that a little bit. Sanat, I see you're wearing a boot this time. What happened?
So a lot has changed. Second month of renovation, I was playing soccer and I ruptured my Achilles tendon.
I remember you were very involved in the beginning of the project. You were attending a lot, seeing the contractors. After you hurt yourself, were you visiting as much?
Not really. So I did a lot of remote supervision. So thankfully the project moved really fast. They were able to finish most of the contracting work in the first month, but in the second month I got injured. I had to trust a lot of contractors to do the work.
Let's talk about it briefly on a high level. How much did you buy the place for? How much did you sell it for?
$470 and sold for $650.
How much money did you need to do this project and what profit margin did you make?
$145K and I ended up making $27K.
He had $145,000 to work with and he made $27,000 in just 5 months. So we're gonna walk through this, take a look and see what he's done. So this place looks really good. The finishing materials I think are awesome. This is like a wider plank vinyl floor. Did you pick this?
I wanted to go for a light modern color, so we ended up picking this.
Is this vinyl or laminate?
It's vinyl.
It looks good when you have a wider plank floor, especially going this kind of distance. Did you have any problems or anything with the way this whole flow went?
Not really. Everything went smoothly. Spotlights. We just wanted to basically make an addition in this corner of basically putting this accent wall, and I think it was a good addition.
Why did you decide to do that?
The painter basically made that recommendation, so we thought that it was going to be a good addition.
When the new owners take possession, I think they're going to expect this to move. Did they ask about this, whether or not it's going to stay here?
They asked and we told them that it's going to be part of
that. It's built in, because it looks like it's part of the staging. Are these windows brand new or?
Yeah, brand new windows. It wasn't expected. We noticed that it's a little bit worn out, so we decided to change the windows here and downstairs as well. 3 new windows.
When you first walk in, it's important to focus your efforts in this space over here, because this is the first thing that people see. I also see that you went for the tall baseboards.
So we decided to go with the high profile baseboards to basically reduce the amount of work because of the damage. We wanted to hide the damage from the previous baseboards.
Why did you decide to go with this style of door?
We wanted to go for a modern look. At the same time, the contractor that I had, he had those doors ready and it was provided at a good discount.
You know, like the colonial style, how much was that relative to those doors? Was it like a lot cheaper?
It was a little bit cheaper, $50 per door. He basically wanted to get rid of it because it was sitting at his warehouse for a while and I think it was a good looking door, so we ended up going with that.
How much did you get per door installed?
$190 per door and including the installation.
Including this, see, that's remarkable. So this is, I think, the advantage of when you focus on the resources that your contractor has. Somebody might look at the door and it's a matter of taste and preference. Do I like this door? It maybe is not everybody's favorite door, but at $190 is really not going to bother anybody that much. If you wanted to go to Home Depot and just buy a pre-hung door, just buying the door is $250. The kitchen looks good. Did it turn out as you expected?
He actually showed me some pictures of existing kitchens that he's done in the past. I'm pleased with the result.
Let's talk about itemized cost here, because I think this stuff is always interesting. It looks almost like the IKEA kitchen with the flat, but is this custom or is it IKEA?
It's custom.
How much roughly did the kitchen cabinets cost? I'm assuming you got them with handles installed.
The whole kitchen was about $8,000.
I see you went with the matching stainless steel appliances. Where'd you get these from?
Castletown. They had the returned appliances. They have small dings or just minor issues you can't even see.
Yeah, like where?
So there's a ding on this side that you can't even see. So, and it was half price. And with this one, it was completely fine. There was nothing. And here you have a small plate that is moving, but it's completely functional, 100%. And all the appliances I took for less than $2,000.
This type of thing, I don't know why they didn't flip it the other way.
Everything was pretty straightforward, except for the window corner here. We noticed that the window is actually too low, and we actually needed to do this notch.
I see over here you provisioned for, looks like a washer dryer set here, or at least there's a dryer plug. Why is that here? I see there's no washer dryer.
Yeah, because I was actually going for a rental. So we were gonna rent the house, and you know, that was the contingency plan.
Anybody who's also looking at it also will think at the back of their mind, if we need to rent out one of the units and not occupy it ourselves, we have the facilities to separate our unit completely. Let's take a look at the bathroom. Did you decide on all this? Because this is like nice little touches. You have the glowing mirror, you have the accent wall with the panels. Did you make these decisions?
The accent walls with the panels, it was a recommendation from the contractor and I went with it. The mirror, we found it on Amazon, $90, so it was a good addition.
I bet part of the reason why he's like, hey, do you want to install this? Sometimes contractors will just have leftover materials.
Exactly, no, 100%, that's the reason. We didn't do the stand-up shower here because this is the upper unit, and just in case they have children, they're definitely gonna need the tubs.
That's smart thinking. A lot of the times people will go for the showers because they look nicer, but practically families have children, families will have even pets, right? And like the bathtubs are important.
Lessons learned that it's 4 bedrooms and there's no bathroom. Next project, I'm definitely gonna budget for a bathroom at the top floor.
See, we knew that from the beginning. I think we talked about that last time, that no bathroom on this floor might be an issue, but also logistically there isn't a lot of areas to install it. I mean, if you think about it, you could potentially have cut it off here, made this the washroom, smaller washroom,
the washer dryer,
and this could be washer dryer or even just a walk-in closet for the bedroom.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's true.
There's so many options. Adding an extra washroom, how much did the washroom downstairs cost roughly?
It's 6 to 7K. We actually knew that was gonna come up with showings, so I've actually told the realtor, hey listen, if somebody brings this up, tell them you can change one of the rooms. We have a contractor ready. It's gonna take 10,000 7 days to just set up the bathroom upstairs.
We were originally discussing whether or not you should open that closet area or build in a closet. You obviously just decided to keep it open and leave it for people.
Cost effective.
Yeah.
Keep it as is, painted, baseboard, spotlights, and it actually looks good.
Did you notice that the direction of the floor changed? So like this way, it goes that way. That's the way it's supposed to go. And when you're in a hallway, you're always supposed to go lengthwise.
Holy shit.
It's a small space, it doesn't so much matter, but you know, right? Like imagine downstairs if the floor went the other way. Even though you don't have the upper shelves, it just makes it look finished, right? Because I think you were debating whether you should have left it drywall before, right?
Yeah, it wasn't in the initial plan to do the backsplash. Skylar actually insisted that we should do it. I'm glad that we did it because it elevated the look.
How much did this downstairs kitchen cost to install?
Another 6K, including the plumbing and electric.
Okay, I can't remember, was there plumbing here?
No.
So this is completely new.
Completely
But you
new.
tied it in, so there's a washroom over here, you tied it in over here.
Yeah.
That made it easy to install over here.
And a little bit cost efficiency here on the countertop. We did laminate countertop instead of the quartz.
It's funny because, especially in pictures too, this will look amazing.
We did have a little bit of problems, especially with the scope of work. I would have loved that it's a little bit more detailed. Some points of dispute, for example, the stairs. It wasn't so clear in the scope of work. He did the vinyl staircasing, but on the sides, it ended up leaving a gap. It provided me with an unfinished product, and that was a big point of dispute.
But it looks finished now, so did he have to come back and redo that?
Yeah, back and forth, and there was a big dispute, and he ended up doing it.
They had a carpenter come and add a little bit of edging to it to kind of complete the stairs, and it looks like it butts up nicely to the sides right now. Last time we were talking about the issue with the height of the shower. I think visually, this looks really good. Why did you decide to do glass?
I mean, it needed to be partitioned at the end of the day. There was a recommendation to do
The prefab, yeah.
Prefab, but I felt like it wasn't gonna look as good as this. I know the difference between the prefab and this shower, custom shower, is about $1,500, and we ended up going with this. We ended up just finishing the inside of this one, just because there was a smell coming from inside, and we found a dead rat.
You found a dead rat in there?
Yeah, so we actually had to finish it and clean it. That was another $1,000.
$1,000 just for that?
Just
Let
for
me see what you
that,
spent $1,000 on.
This. And also let me add this, because we didn't find the shut-off for the water outside. They didn't have it.
Yeah.
They didn't have it.
That's interesting because you got such an amazing deal on a lot of things, and this cost $1,000. Right?
Exactly.
It doesn't. When you look at it, it doesn't seem, because it's not even plastered or finished. There's no floor. So if you think about it, $1,000. This is the only part I would say maybe you overpaid. You changed all the windows down here. Remember, it had that just single glass separate windows.
Old windows. I wanted to change 2 out of the 3 windows, but I couldn't come to the house, so I took a picture of the windows, sent it to Chats, and basically he changed 2 windows, and then when he sent me pictures, he changed the wrong windows. So he changed this one and that one.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to change the 3rd one, of course.
And this is where sometimes you end up going a little bit over budget. I know that you spent a little bit more on the renovations, and and that's gonna happen sometimes, but as long as you account it for it somehow, right? Don't expect things to be perfect. This looks way different than when we started.
We painted the exterior, as you can see.
Yeah.
Everything is gray. We installed new storm doors, new lamps.
You know, the painting of everything really makes it look so much cleaner, whereas before it had all these funny colors. It wasn't just one. Oh my God, the backyard? This is such a huge improvement. What was here before? I remember there was the dilapidated
There was a shed. We removed it completely. It actually looked so much better with the tree and the leaves, but now given it's winter, I mean, all the leaves fell down. So we basically put new grass. We power washed this area here. It looks so much cleaner and better. We trimmed this tree.
I see you got rid of all the wires that used to be here.
Called Bell. They came and they tidied everything up and removed the old cables.
Okay, so you didn't have to pay a contractor to come and do it.
No.
That looks so much better.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
The landscaper actually did a good job. So he removed all of the bushes. He put the gravel there.
When you start to list all these things for $80,000 worth of work inside and out, you got a hell of a bargain. So let's talk numbers. There's things that went well, things that needed adjustment, but overall money was made. Let's talk about it on a high level. So you bought the house for $470,000 and the initial ARV was $650, and that is exactly what you managed to sell it for.
Exactly.
All right, so that was good. And that was supposed to be technically conservative, but honestly, under today's market conditions, I feel like that was spot on.
It was definitely the worst case scenario, and that's what happened.
So let's talk about what kind of money you needed and where that went. How much was your total capital requirement?
Capital requirement was about 145K, 23K as a down payment. We had about 4K for the lawyer fees going in. We didn't have to pay a big amount just because I was a first-time home buyer and it was reduced. About 95K for renovations. 5 months of carrying costs, that was about 20K.
So that's 142,000. You got a little bit of change left over, but that's a tight budget. Are there any other funds available?
Yeah, for sure. Just in case things went south, we had about 30K.
Now, did everything pan out in terms of budget? Is that what you ended up spending in every area required? Like renovations is usually that's the big cost. You budgeted $95,000 there. So how much did you end up spending total for renovations?
Budgeting for the renovation, we got a quote for 70 and we actually ended up at 80. The initial budget was 95K. So there was a little bit of unforeseen expenses. You can talk about the windows, you can talk about the roofing. We ended up doing that. The paint as well. Paint contractor ended up bailing.
But that seems like a lot of extra work just for a $10,000 increase. So this is where you, as an investor and somebody who is resourceful, not everything has to always be expensive. A lot of things, this is just about finding the right person who can do an honest day's work. And when you're trying to keep things under budget, it's not just, oh, this is just how much it costs. It's like, no, this is what money I have to work with. How do I make this work?
And making sure that everything is set up properly from the start. I was too lenient at the beginning. I was like, oh, good job, good job, good job. But if I just had set up the right expectations from the beginning, there wouldn't have been variation orders. They would have controlled the paint issue. They wouldn't have bailed.
Let's talk ROI. So you had $145,000, and after all is said and done, how much money was made on this project?
27,000, and the ROI was 18%.
That's also an 18% return under 6 months. So within a 5-month period, if you do this annualized, 36%, who is going to be taking the capital gain?
My wife. So
Why?
she's on maternity leave, and we put 99% of the property under her name. So that basically reduces capital gains implications significantly.
If you're making, you know, $200,000-$300,000 on these flip projects over the course of a year, it starts to matter, and you have to start to think about how to also, you know, diversify that spread. And at some point, you get to a point where you want to do this under a corporation so that you can write things off properly and consider as active income. Your tax bracket becomes lower. One thing, guys, we forgot to mention while we're inside going over the numbers, there was a really critical part of the sales process that Sanad was telling me about that we forgot to mention. So Sanad, you made some adjustments with your realtor. Can you tell us a little bit about that made the sale happen?
So given the high interest rates, there wasn't a lot of traffic when we put the house out for sale. So in the first 2 months, there was no showings. We followed multiple strategies. We put the house for 700K, no showings. Then we went down to 599 and we basically held offers. Also no showings. What we ended up doing is we put 3% for the buyer's realtor, and that ended up generating a little bit of momentum. We had 10 showings and somebody ended up buying the house for our
That is an amazing point in today's market, because there was a time where, for example, when realtors would have properties, whoever was holding the listing, that realtor essentially had gold. But right now, if a realtor has a capable buyer, that realtor is holding the power right now. So if you want to incentivize people to come to your property, trying to incentivize the person bringing them there, the realtor, is an excellent strategy to use. So I thought that was very smart of you to do, and definitely it's worked out. So if you guys want to know how to flip houses, raise capital, grow and scale in real estate in general, make sure to connect with us, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.